Picture a massive skyscraper being built. Usually you look at a site like that and you see hundreds of workers in hard hats, middle managers with clipboards, huge HR departments, just endless layers of logistics. To get big, you had to hire big. It was basically a physical law of business. But today, if you look at the digital equivalent of that construction site, it's entirely empty.
Right, yeah.
There is just one person sitting there pushing a button, and the entire skyscraper essentially builds itself.
It completely upends the traditional formula for value creation. Because growth and headcount, they used to be intrinsically tied. You couldn't have one without the other. And now they're completely divorced from one another.
Welcome to the Deep Dive, everyone. I'm your host, and with me today is our resident tech and systems expert.
Hey, everyone. Really glad to be here for this one.
Today, we are mapping out the exact infrastructure of the 2026 solopreneur. We're basing this on an incredibly eye-opening report called Solo AI Monetization Strategies 2026.
Yeah, it's a fascinating stack of sources.
It really is. Our mission today is to figure out the actual mechanics of how non-technical individuals are currently scaling these massive digital empires, totally single-handedly.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because whether you are a seasoned entrepreneur looking to pivot, or maybe someone just trying to catch up on the newest tech, or even if you're just insanely curious about where the global economy is heading, the rules of the game have entirely changed for you.
They have. And to understand those rules, we really have to look at the baseline shift here. Scale is, it's no longer about managing complex human hierarchies. It is entirely about the precision of your digital stack.
Right.
The data we're looking at shows how a single founder can now operate with a 95 to 98% reduction in overhead compared to, a traditional small business from just 10 years ago.
I mean, a 98% reduction, that is just crazy. The sources point to solo founders generating over $3 million in annual revenue with literally 0 employees.
Yeah, 0.
How are they mechanically replacing thousands of hours of human labor? Like, what does that actually look like? Well, it happens by transitioning to what is known as workspace DNA. So we have moved completely away from the legacy software as a service model.
The old SaaS world.
Exactly, the old SaaS world, where you had like a dozen different apps. You had Slack, Notion, your CRM, and they were all operating these totally disconnected silos. A modern workspace is no longer a static filing cabinet. It is a living agentic infrastructure.
Right. Okay, so tell me if this analogy holds up. Moving to an agentic workspace, is it sort of like upgrading from a really smart calculator to suddenly having a staff of invisible, highly specialized interns who never sleep and who actually learn from your brand's specific history?
Oh, that is a perfect way to visualize it. And those invisible interns function through 3 very specific mechanisms. First, there's structured memory.
Okay.
This means the system actually stores your episodic context. So it remembers that last Tuesday, you decided to change your refund policy, and it adapts its future behavior based on that exact memory.
So it stops the AI from acting like a goldfish.
Exactly, yeah. It actually compounds knowledge over time. Then second is autonomous intelligence. The AI agents reason over that memory to perform complex, multi-step actions entirely in the background.
Without you even prompting them.
Right, without any prompting.
Yeah.
And then the third piece is durable execution. This is the ability to trigger automated workflows across hundreds of integrations.
So like pulling a payment or updating a CRM.
Yeah, sending an onboarding email, running a credit check, all completely decoupled from your personal working hours.
Which fundamentally changes what a founder actually does all day. I mean, you transition from being a doer of tasks to a manager of capacity.
Yes.
You aren't writing the emails or manually moving data from one spreadsheet to another. You're directing this swarm of specialized agents that handle the pipeline. And what's wild to me is how these founders are building these tools. We are seeing the massive rise of vibe coding.
Well, vibe coding is huge right now.
Yeah.
Non-technical entrepreneurs are building and iterating on their own internal software tools simply by using natural language.
It's like you just talk to the computer.
Pretty much. You describe the workflow you want, and the AI writes the code, it tests it, and it deploys the internal app. You effectively become your own IT department.
Which completely explains the absolute panic in the traditional software industry right now. I mean, it's like paying for a massive bus when you really only need a bicycle.
Exactly.
The legacy software companies, they were renting out like 50 individual user licenses to companies that now only have 2 human employees.
Mm-hmm.
If you use AI to reduce your customer support human headcount by 81%, you aren't paying for those 81 software seats anymore.
No, you're not. And so the legacy vendors are just scrambling to adapt to outcome-based or capacity-based pricing. If we connect this to the bigger picture, they have to charge for the computational work the AI performs, or the actual business value generated, rather than how many human seats are logged into a portal.
Okay, so if a single founder has all of this automated capacity at their fingertips, the natural question is, what are they actually producing to generate that $3 million a year?
Right.
Because the landscape of digital assets has evolved drastically, especially in the content economy, we aren't just talking about, chasing viral dances on social media anymore.
Not at all.
Oh.
It is highly systematized evergreen utility now. A really prime example from the current landscape is the absolute explosion of faceless YouTube automation.
Right, these are the channels where the creator literally never steps in front of a camera.
Exactly. And the sources outlined incredibly specific search-driven niches for this. Things like historical mysteries using public domain maps.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, or Reddit story narrations, complex finance explainers, and even mythology channels.
And the production pipeline for these channels is just a masterclass in autonomous execution. You have large language models handling the scripting, right? Because they've been trained on specific narrative hooks and pacing.
Yeah, the LLMs handle the text, and then the voiceover is handled by these lifelike synthesis tools like 11 Labs or Play AI. And they actually map the acoustic resonance to sound entirely indistinguishable from a real human narrator. You hear it and you just think it's a person.
And for the visuals, platforms like Synthesia are doing things that, honestly, used to require an entire international localization department. Synthesia maps the generated audio foams directly onto the lips of 180 different AI avatars.
It's unbelievable.
So a solo creator sitting in their bedroom in Ohio can localize their entire video library into 120 languages. The AI automatically adjusts the lip sync and the syntax for a global audience in Japan, Brazil, Germany at zero extra cost.
And that ability to create an asset once and scale it infinitely, that's also driving the AI prompt gold rush right now. Prompt engineering has transitioned from like a neat parlor trick into a highly durable digital asset.
Right.
The specialized AI prompt marketplace is actually projected to hit $2.51 billion this year.
Okay, I have to play devil's advocate here for a second.
Go for it.
Because, my grandmother uses AI to write recipes now. We all have access to these language models. Why on earth would a business pay real money, let alone like up to $5,000 for an enterprise kit, when they could just type instructions into the AI themselves?
Yeah. Well, because a recipe isn't a high-stakes corporate workflow. The value isn't in the ability to type a sentence. The value is entirely in the domain expertise and the guardrails.
The guardrails.
Yeah, we are talking about highly profitable niches here, things like legal document drafting, medical scribe automation, or complex SEO gap identification.
But wait, a lawyer already knows the law, right? Couldn't they just tell the AI what to write?
They could, sure. But at $500 an hour, a law firm does not want to spend 3 weeks doing trial and error to figure out the exact system prompts, the temperature settings, the negative constraints.
To stop it from making things up.
Exactly. To make an LLM summarize case law securely without hallucinating fake precedents. So a solo entrepreneur who has already solved that exact problem, stress-tested it, and packaged it into a turnkey system, they are saving that business massive amounts of time and liability.
That reframes it perfectly. They aren't buying the text prompt, they're buying the hundreds of hours of testing you've already done to guarantee the output. And you see that reflected in the pricing tiers, too. There are starter packs on prompt marketplaces for like $9 to $19, but then it scales all the way up to those $5,000 enterprise kits, which are usually sold via direct LinkedIn outreach.
And because the sellers bundle these kits with video walkthroughs and implementation guides, the refund rates are staggeringly low. We're talking just 2 to 5%.
It is the ultimate digital asset. You solve a complex problem once, and you sell the solution infinitely. But, if a single founder can automate a global YouTube empire and sell digital assets at that scale, it kind of exposes a massive vulnerability for traditional brick-and-mortar businesses.
Oh, absolutely.
The ones who are still doing things the old way.
Mm-mm.
Let's look at, the local plumber or the corner pizza shop. How are they surviving in an AI-driven search world, and how are solopreneurs profiting from actually helping them?
Well, local businesses are facing a real existential threat right now because traditional local SEO is effectively dead. Yeah, search engines just don't want to give you a list of 10 blue links anymore. They provide direct, synthesized AI answers. So to survive, businesses have to adapt to answer engine optimization, or AEO.
Answer engine optimization. Meaning, instead of trying to rank for a keyword, you are structuring your data so the AI competently chooses you as the definitive fact.
Exactly. And the mechanism the AI uses to make that choice is called entity trust.
Entity trust, how does that work?
The AI basically scrapes the business's website, their social directories, and their Google business profile. And if all the data points like hours of operation, service areas, exact pricing, if they match perfectly across the entire web, the AI verifies the entity. It trusts it enough to recommend it to a user.
So the solopreneur consulting workflow here is just fascinating. You go into a local business and completely rebuild their digital presence. You put answer first content at the very top of their website, direct scannable definitions, but more importantly, you manually integrate schema.org markup.
Yes, schema is crucial.
And for the non-technical listener, schema is basically a translation layer. It takes human information like a plumber's emergency hourly rate and wraps it in code so the AI can instantly read it without having to guess.
And beyond just structuring the data, these solo consultants are implementing immediate operational upgrades for these shops.
Like what?
Well, they are setting up AI receptionists via WhatsApp and SMS.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so when a customer texts the local plumber at 11 p.m. because a pipe burst, the AI instantly replies. It answers FAQs based on that schema data we just talked about, and it books the appointment automatically.
It captures the revenue that traditionally slipped right through the cracks.
Exactly, which ties into this massive opportunity called the training paradox. The sources show that 82% of enterprise leaders buy AI tools for their teams, but 59% report a critical skills gap.
So they buy the fancy software, but nobody actually knows how to implement it into their daily friction points.
Precisely. The gap between tool availability and actual proficiency is the most lucrative space for a consultant right now. Organizations that implement structured workflow-specific training, they see an average of 11.4 hours saved weekly per employee.
That's huge.
It is. It yields a return of $3.70 to $10.30 for every single dollar invested.
Okay, so if you're listening to this and sitting there wondering how you actually price this when you walk into a local business, the models are actually highly structured. An AEO site audit is typically priced between $1,000 and $2,500 just based on the site's complexity.
Right.
Schema management is usually an ongoing retainer, around $150 a month just to keep the data synced. And if you are doing a full AI process audit, finding those friction points and actually building the automations, that ranges from $1,000 all the way up to $20,000 for a full strategic rollout.
It's a tremendous amount of B2B value. But, if AI can process all that structured data to perfectly understand the inventory and operations of a local plumber, the natural progression is using those exact same analytical models to understand the person buying the plumbing services.
Yes. If it can map a business, it can absolutely map us. We are seeing a massive shift toward hyper-personalization, especially because consumers today, particularly Gen Z, they are actively rejecting standardized, one-size-fits-all digital experiences.
They want it tailored to them. And the mechanism of this personalization is incredible. Look at tools like Rep AI in the e-commerce space. It's a conversational sales agent that detects shopper hesitation with 92% accuracy.
That is wild. It's like having a hyper-perceptive virtual shop assistant. You know when you're in a physical store and you pick up a box, you squint at the label, put it down, and then pick it up again?
Yeah.
A good human salesperson notices that behavior and gently steps in to help. Rep AI is doing that digitally by tracking cursor velocity, microscrolls, and the exact time spent lingering on a specific product image.
And what's fascinating here is when it flags that hesitation, it doesn't just send a generic pop-up that says need help. It triggers a highly dynamic response, right? Bootstrap solo founders are linking these agents to their product information management systems, like Odupim. The AI instantly pulls data, uses an AI editor like MyEdit to generate a custom graphic on the fly, and writes a hyper-personalized product description via Hypotenuse AI.
Just to address the exact feature the user was hovering over.
Exactly. It leads to a 10 to 30% lift in conversions. And the barrier to looking like a massive retail brand is practically zero.
And that level of behavioral tracking, it is bleeding heavily into human services too. Things like coaching and wellness.
Right.
We're looking at a $6 billion market right now for personalized learning paths.
And it is so crucial to understand that human coaches aren't competing with AI here. They are utilizing it as an analytical co-pilot to augment human empathy with data-driven precision.
The sentiment analysis tools for this are just mind-blowing. The AI basically sits in on a Zoom coaching session, but it isn't just transcribing text, it's actually measuring acoustic features.
Yeah, it analyzes the syntax, the pitch of the client's voice, the length of their pauses.
Right, to spot a moment of hesitation or a psychological breakthrough that the human coach might have just entirely missed in the moment.
Then, the AI uses that acoustic data to send perfectly timed, personalized nudges and reflective exercises, say, on a Wednesday, based entirely on a microexpression it detected during Monday's session.
It allows a solo coach to scale their roster drastically without losing that intimate detail. We're also seeing this explode in the health sector. The market for AI-generated digital health coaching avatars is projected to triple in size between 2026 and 2030.
Triple. That's a $22.5 billion market.
Yeah. And these avatars ingest real-time data from your wearable devices, your sleep latency, your heart rate variability, your nutrition logs, and they provide highly specific real-time guidance.
It represents a massive monetization opportunity. But, before anyone rushes out to build one of these platforms, we really have to look at the operational mechanics of the non-technical stack and, frankly, the very real dangers involved.
Okay, let's get into the how-tos, the blueprints. The non-technical stack of 2026 is essentially a visual canvas. For building applications, solopreneurs are using no-code builders like Atalo, which starts at like $36 a month and lets you build native mobile apps visually.
Right.
There's Zeit for business portals, Bubble for really complex web apps, and Glide for simple utilities built right on top of a spreadsheet.
And to connect all these visual elements together, you need a workflow automation tool. Make is heavily utilized right now for its visual ease. But founders who want strict control over their infrastructure, they're favoring N8N.
Yeah, N8N is fascinating because you can self-host it on a virtual private server or VPS, for anyone listening who's unfamiliar. VPS is basically renting a tiny remote slice of a computer. By hosting it yourself for about $6 a month, you actually own the plumbing. You avoid the massive platform toll fees that tools like Zapier charge every single time a piece of data moves, which is vital when you are running complex, multi-step agentic workflows.
But here's the catch. As the technical barrier to entry drops to practically zero, the operational risks spike. The most significant threat in this entire landscape is what is known as the epistemological trap.
The epistemological trap. This is basically producing work in a domain where you lack the ability to manually evaluate the output.
Exactly.
Think about it like this. Imagine you use an AI to write a complex legal contract for your new business. It looks incredibly professional, it uses all the right jargon, but because you didn't go to law school, you have no idea if that paragraph 4 accidentally gave away 100% of your intellectual property.
Right.
You don't have the domain expertise to spot the hallucination. That is the epistemological trap. But wait, if these AI app builders are so good at vibe coding, can't I just trust the AI to build my app correctly? Like, why do I need to worry about the code?
Well, this raises an important question. The data surrounding this is actually pretty alarming. Nearly half of all AI-generated code snippets contain bugs.
Half. Wow.
Half. And there has been a 10-time spike in security vulnerabilities related to AI-generated code. If you use vibe coding to build an app, it might function perfectly in a controlled test. But under production loads, with real user data, it could expose sensitive customer information.
That's terrifying.
Furthermore, AI notoriously prioritizes aesthetics over accessibility, which leads to UX architectures that just completely fail to meet legal compliance standards. UX nightmares, essentially.
So you really have to know the boundaries of your own judgment. You can use the AI to build 90% of the app, but you still need to pay a human expert to review that final 10%.
Exactly.
And the way founders manage this daily risk is through human-in-the-loop, or HITL, models.
Precisely. You implement human-on-the-loop for low-risk routine tasks. That's where the AI runs autonomously.
Yep.
And you just monitor the high-level metrics. For medium-risk tasks, like billing or customer refunds, you use human-in-the-loop. The AI acts as a proposed reply system. It drafts the refund response, but a human must literally click approve before the money moves.
And every time the human corrects that AI draft, it feeds back into the structured memory we talked about earlier, making the system smarter for your specific business.
Exactly.
Finally, you use human as the loop for high-value client interactions. That's where you lead the conversation, and the AI just operates in the background providing data.
And to pull all of this theory into practice, the most successful solo founders are utilizing a strict 30-day blueprint for implementation. This isn't about just buying software. It's about systematically replacing yourself.
Let's break that down because this is highly actionable. Week one is the audit. You don't buy any tools yet. You log every 15 minutes of your day to find out where your time is actually going.
Mhm.
You separate the revenue-generating tasks from the administrative slog.
Then week 2 is validation. The biggest mistake founders make is trying to automate a broken process. So you pick one administrative bottleneck and apply a low-barrier tool to test it. If you are drowning in meetings, you deploy an AI note-taker like Otter or Fireflies to handle the action items. You might actually find out half those meetings didn't need to happen at all.
Which brings us to week three, automation. This is where you build the nervous system. You use Make, or N8N, to connect the validated tools together. You visually wire the APIs so that when a lead fills out a form, it automatically updates your CRM, triggers the AI to draft a personalized welcome packet, and sends it without you ever touching the keyboard.
And finally, week 4 is distribution. This is the payoff. With your administrative time completely freed up by those agents, you shift your entire focus to creating durable digital assets.
The prompt kits, the faceless YouTube videos, the AEO content.
Yes, the assets that scale indefinitely and generate revenue while you sleep.
So, synthesizing this entire landscape, the era of scaling by hiring hundreds of people is well and truly over. We've mapped out the mechanics of agentic workspaces, the collapse of legacy software pricing, the absolute durability of the prompt marketplace, and how answer engine optimization is saving local businesses.
Yeah, we've covered a lot.
We've seen how tracking micro behaviors enables hyper-personalized coaching, and why navigating the epistemological trap requires strict human-in-the-loop guardrails. This modular Lego block tech stack of 2026 is the new blueprint for wealth creation. You are no longer limited by a lack of coding skills. You are really only limited by your systems thinking.
The leverage available to a single individual today is just unprecedented, but I do want to leave you with a final thought to ponder. We discussed the epistemological trap, the real danger of producing systems you cannot fully evaluate. But consider the broader implications of that hyper-personalization we analyzed. If AI becomes perfectly capable of generating digital health avatars, customized learning paths, and perfectly tailored product realities for every single individual, what happens to our shared human experience?
Oh, wow.
When every digital interaction becomes a mirror perfectly tailored to your exact microbehaviors, how do we ensure we don't lose our connection to the uncurated, unpredictable real world?
That is a profoundly deep question to walk away with. We started this deep dive by looking at the empty construction site, a digital skyscraper just building itself. The real challenge might be making sure we still know how to live inside it once it's finished. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep building, keep questioning, and we will see you next time.